What family tradition did you realize was actually illegal? I grew up thinking all families had confession circles where kids had to admit their sins to avoid punishment. Every Sunday after dinner, we'd sit in our living room while Grandpa Earl, a former preacher, would make us confess everything we'd done wrong that week. Not just big stuff, everything. Did you have impure thoughts? Did you lie to your parents? Did you steal a cookie? Did you feel angry at God? If you confessed properly and showed real repentance, you got forgiveness. If you held back or lied, Grandpa Earl could somehow tell, and you'd get correction, which meant writing Bible verses until your hand cramped, cold baths, or going to bed hungry. But the real punishment was being marked. Grandpa Earl would take photos of unrepentant children and pin them to this bulletin board in his basement office with descriptions of their sins written underneath. So the family can pray for your soul, he'd say. I thought every religious family did this. When friends talked about going to church confession, I'd smugly think how much better our system was because it happened at home with people who truly loved you. The photos started when I was about 8. My cousin Danny, age 10, got marked for lustful thoughts after he was caught looking at a magazine. His photo went up with sexual deviant written in red marker. My sister Emma got marked at 12 for vanity and pride because she wanted to wear makeup like other girls. Her photo showed her crying with Jezebel spirit written underneath. I got marked at 14 for rebellion against authority when I questioned why girls couldn't speak during confession circles. My photo was captioned feminist corruption. The basement office was off limits to kids, but I'd seen glimpses when Grandpa Earl took us down to get our photos taken. Dozens of pictures covered the walls. Cousins, siblings, family friends' kids. Some photos were years old. What I didn't realize was that Grandpa Earl was showing these photos to other families in his ministry network. He'd travel to different houses leading confession circles and bringing his photo collection as examples of corrected children. Everything changed when my 16-year-old cousin Sarah confessed to having a boyfriend. Grandpa Earl made her describe every interaction in explicit detail while the whole family listened. Then he took her to the basement for her marking photo. When she came back up 30 minutes later, she was shaking and wouldn't make eye contact with anyone. The next day at school, Sarah told her guidance counselor what happened. Mrs. Rodriguez called CPS immediately. Not just about the interrogation, but about something else Sarah had mentioned. That Grandpa Earl made her remove her shirt for the marking photo because shame must be visible to be cleansed. When investigators searched the basement office, they found hundreds of photos. Some were just face shots of crying children, but others were much worse. Photos of kids in underwear, posed in humiliating positions, organized in filing cabinets by sin category. Turns out Grandpa Earl had been running this confession ministry for 15 years across 3 states. He wasn't just collecting photos for prayer, he was trading them with other predators online. The FBI found his computer files, thousands of images, chat logs with other men discussing which children were ready for advanced correction, plans to expand the ministry to include overnight repentance retreats. What our family called spiritual guidance was actually organized child exploitation with a religious cover. Grandpa Earl got 25 years federal prison for child exploitation and trafficking. 3 other ministry leaders in different states were arrested in the same operation. Sarah spent 2 years in therapy learning that having a boyfriend wasn't a sin that required public humiliation. I learned that real churches don't photograph children's shame or make kids describe their private thoughts to adults. The worst part? My parents knew something was wrong, but convinced themselves it was just old-fashioned discipline. They testified at his trial, claiming they thought it was strict but godly. Sarah's guidance counselor saved dozens of kids. The FBI called it one of the largest religious-based exploitation rings they'd ever uncovered. I still can't walk into a church basement without feeling sick.